Hello there. Thanks a lot for coming by PosterCentral.com's video blog today. I'm Pete Howard, and here's an original advertising window card for only the 16th show ever in America by the Rolling Stones. Wow. Fall of 1964, their second U.S. tour, and boy was this short, only 11 shows, and then that was following only 9 shows on their first tour in June. So wow, seeing the Stones in 1964, the year of the British invasion, was a treat indeed. And in fact, most Americans didn't even get a chance to. They wouldn't come, they didn't come close to most big cities. The country is just too big and the Stones were still too small potatoes to make it happen in '64. Now I have blogged this tour blank concert poster from other cities in my blog, but it's just such a cool, historic, and fun poster. And the Milwaukee show here has some really fun aspects, plus I have still another new image to show you from another date, so I'm rolling with the blog. So this tour blank was made by the Murray Poster Printing Company in New York City, so they probably created one for all 11 shows, I'm guessing. There are just so few shows. Speaking of 11 shows, how about 11/11 for the date there? November 11th of 1964 at the Milwaukee Auditorium in, of course, Wisconsin. Very popular place. In fact, just this year in '64, you had the Beatles, Stones, Beach Boys, Dave Clark 5, Ray Charles, Louis Armstrong, and Johnny Cash. So definitely a happening place for concerts. Tickets, 5.5, 4.5, 3.5, and 2.5 on sale at the Milwaukee Arena box office. Well, sorry guys, but you should have sold tickets at more than just the box office. You should have spread out with your ticket sales, because attendance for this show was a paltry 1,275 people, 1/5 of capacity. Ouch. God, it's amazing to hear attendance figures like that from the Stones' first couple of tours when they had never enjoyed as much as a top 20 hit in America. However, love to make a liar out of myself sometimes, that finally changed with this week. That's right, this very week in Billboard magazine in their Hot 100 singles chart, Time Is on My Side nudged in at number 18. But a number 18 hit is not really going to sell many tickets, and so the Stones were kind of coasting on the huge wave caused by the Beatles and the Dave Clark 5 and other British, and Peter and Gordon, other British invasion acts that had hits. But the Stones didn't have anybody to blame but themselves, because they weren't helping themselves. They held a press conference a couple of days before this show on November 9th, and it's just hilarious. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reports that that press conference was attended by, quote, 6 disinterested reporters and 2 superfans. Can you believe it? Can you even picture a Stones press conference with 8 bodies in front of them and the 5 guys answering questions? And their answers were snappy, sarcastic, condescending, and everything else. So, as I said, they weren't helping themselves, but I guess the plan worked in the long run as the anti-Beatles and the bad boys of rock and roll. Okay, so further explaining, down there in the venue box it says Bob Berry MC. Well, he was, big DJ at the local pop station WOKY. I kind of wonder how he got along with the bad boy Stones, because he was known as Milwaukee's 5th Beatle and Beatle Bob. And he had MC'd the Beatles show a couple of months earlier in September. And as a matter of fact, here's a picture of him with the Fabs. And of course, he's the second one from the left there, Bob Berry. So, now he was MCing the Rolling Stones, and I just wonder, I'm sure he got along with them, but, you never hear him mentioned in the Stones' breath, only in regards to the Beatles. By the way, he is in Wisconsin's Broadcasters Hall of Fame for almost 30 years on the air in that state. And then finally, another business name down there. I don't like to let these names just go by. I like to find out who they were. This does say, presented by Ed Pazder Productions. Well, he was a Chicago-based promoter and an impresario who had his own, television show on WMAQ and everything. And Ed is the one who took it on the chin for that light attendance. Billboard reported that he lost $2,500 on this very show, and 2 shows previously, for the Cleveland Stones show, he lost $5,000. And remember, that's 1964 currency, so, whew, man, that's a lot of scratch to lose $7,500 on this new English act. I wonder if he was lucky enough to pick them up in '65 when they started making money. I don't know. And then way down there in the fine print, in the lower left corner, you've got tour direction, General Artists Corporation. Seems like GAC had their finger in everything back then. And the lower right corner, Murray Poster Printing Company, who also printed, by the way, the blue ink there, the information in the venue box. Now remember, some of them were handwritten in on this exact Stones tour. I think I've shown them. You got Dayton, Ohio, and San Diego, California. The promoters just took blanks and then wrote in the information themselves. And then some were printed not by Murray, but printed locally when they got the blank. Matter of fact, here's my new picture I haven't shown before, where in that town, in Sacramento, California, I'll show you the whole poster first, and there the promoters stripped in their own information. As you can see, it's in a totally different font and everything than the font that Murray used. This, by the way, October 26th in Sacramento, the second show on the tour. Now, interestingly, another thing the 11 posters have in common, the ones that I've seen, the half a dozen I've seen, is that no opening acts are ever listed. Of course, the place would be down in the venue box. There's no room up above. And, that's, in this case, it was the Ladybirds in Milwaukee. And sort of a shame, at least from a poster collector's standpoint, that no opening acts were ever listed on the posters. You know why? Because those opening acts are often the people who save the concert posters. I mean, especially these posters where, I just did a Stones poster from 65 UK, and there's 6 opening acts. And, so that could be upwards of a couple of dozen musicians, and a lot of them want to grab and save a poster because their name is on the same poster as, the Rolling Stones and stuff, and they get saved over the decades and handed down to their kids and stuff. But with this 64 thing, never an opening act, so therefore fewer of them saved, I presume. One final note about this Milwaukee show, you never know by looking at it, but the audience only saw 80% of the Rolling Stones, and not even their founder. That's right, Brian Jones missed 4 straight shows on this tour due to illness, and this was the first one. But, despite the light attendance and no Brian Jones, the girls who did attend, by the newspaper reports, did go nuts. They were screaming and storming the stage and throwing things up on the stage and stuff. But, not surprisingly, the critics were not impressed. One reporter called the band grim, and another one there in Milwaukee said they looked like they ate castor oil for supper. Well, the Rolling Stones were on their way, weren't they? So, love the naive innocence of 1964, though. Thanks a lot for dropping by. It's fun showing you this, and have a good day. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.